In parts of Africa and Asia, some men risk their lives handling venomous snakes, but the risk of this activity can be fatal. Follow below. In a square in Marrakesh, snake charmers are attacked in front of several people. In Malaysia, a famous snake charmer is poisoned by a snake. In India, a well-known snake hunter was handling the animal in front of a large audience when he was unexpectedly hit. In Indonesia, a local snake charmer and shaman of sorts was displaying his skills in a bizarre performance when he was bitten. He laughed and continued his performance, not knowing it would be his last. In February 2014, in Marrakesh, Morocco, an unnamed man was performing as a snake charmer in Jima LFNA Square. In Marrakesh, there is a unique profession, the snake charmer. Every day, several of these men offer tourists the spectacle of this ancestral practice in Jima LFNA Square. This tradition, seen in both North Africa and South Asia, dates back at least 5 centuries. Since then, it has been common to see men who appear to control the behavior of snakes, often using traditional flutes. The snakes seem enchanted, hypnotized, and completely submissive. However, snakes are actually deaf and do not respond to the music, which only captivates the spectators. The reptile reacts to the rhythmic movement and vibrations on the ground caused by the musician, who moves his foot while playing the flute and sways his head. As a result, the snake adopts a defensive posture, as if it were dancing. Additionally, the snake charmer often manipulates the snake with his hands, bringing it close to his face and, in some cases, even placing the snake's head in his mouth to impress the audience. This traditionally practiced art is seen as an ancestral gift, an innate ability to approach reptiles without fear of their bites. Snakes are fascinating creatures to observe, yet they can also be responsible for unexpected tragedies. During a typical performance in Jima LFNA Square, the snake charmer, distracted for just a brief moment, ultimately sealed his fate. In a careless instant, he was bitten by one of his snakes, an incident more common than one might imagine. The snakes most commonly used in these performances are also among the most dangerous, such as the cobra and the hairy viper, both known for their highly toxic venom. These venoms can cause respiratory paralysis and severe damage to tissues and internal organs within minutes. Yet, despite their extreme danger, these creatures remain mesmerizing. After being bitten, the man attempted to save himself using a well-known but risky traditional method, sucking out the venom. Though practiced in some cultures, this technique is highly dangerous and generally not recommended. Sucking the venom directly from the wound can introduce it into the bloodstream of the person performing the suction, especially if there are even the slightest cuts in the mouth or gums, increasing the risk of poisoning and even death. The snake charmer began to feel intense discomfort and severe dizziness shortly after the bite. A friend, realizing the gravity of the situation, quickly rushed him to the hospital by motorcycle, but the man passed away just a few hours later. Reliable sources informed the local press that the artist's body would undergo an autopsy to determine the exact cause of death. The incident was considered a tragedy, sparking intense debate among the residents of Marrakesh and Moroccans from other cities who visit Jama LFNA to witness traditional performances. The tragedy brought important questions to light regarding the safety of snake charmers and the nature of such performances, raising concerns about the risks and the relevance of promoting acts involving dangerous animals without stricter safety standards. In May 2017, still in Marrakesh, another snake charmer was preparing for his performance in the bustling Jima LFNA Square. Early in the morning, the man, whose identity remains unknown, set up his space, carefully ensuring that the snakes he kept in enclosed containers were secure. He then began his performance, using instruments to create an engaging atmosphere. His hypnotic movements made the snakes rise in response, capturing the attention of everyone around. At times, he interacted closely with the animals, intensifying the performance and making the experience even more captivating for the audience. As the hours passed, he continued to showcase his skills and entertain the crowd. As was customary, during breaks between performances, the charmer took time to rest and care for the snakes, ensuring they remained hydrated and well-fed. While feeding one of the snakes, he was suddenly and swiftly bitten. Although many professionals in this field remove the venom or even the fangs of their snakes to prevent accidents, not all follow this practice. This was precisely the case for this man. He was bitten by a species that was likely highly venomous and had to be taken to the hospital. He passed away days later due to the severity of the incident. Snake charmers are not the only victims of snake bites. Tourists have also been bitten, often mistakenly believing that the venom had been removed. Travelers are frequently invited by snake charmers to take photos with the snakes, placing them around their necks while the charmers assure them that the animals are harmless. However, this claim can be misleading. These incidents highlight the dangers associated with snake charming and the need for greater awareness regarding safety in such interactions. Many Moroccans rely on this profession for their livelihood, especially in tourist cities like Marrakesh, where snake charmers attract both locals and visitors. A significant number of charmers die from snake bites, despite their experience. While many professionals take measures to minimize risks, such as venom extraction, fatalities still occur. In March 2018, in Malaysia, Abu Zaram Hassan, known as the snake tamer, met his fate. He was poisoned by a snake. Born and raised in the state of Pahang, Malaysia, Abu was a firefighter by profession, but his true expertise lay in handling snakes, something few dare to do, especially with the skill and confidence he displayed. His mastery was not just the result of training, but of a deep, almost intuitive connection with reptiles, developed from a young age. Unlike snake charmers who perform in public exhibitions, Abu did not use his skills for entertainment. He was, in fact, as close as one could get to a true expert in understanding these animals. Since childhood, he had shared a fascination with reptiles. As he grew, his skills became more refined, along with his understanding of their behavior. This natural aptitude for handling dangerous animals led him to the military, where he continued working with them and gaining experience in high-risk situations. Over time, transitioning to the fire department became almost inevitable. His reputation preceded him, and he was frequently called upon to assist in capturing reptiles in residential and commercial areas. He became a role model for his colleagues. Abu also kept snakes as pets. However, this passion was not without its dangers. Over the years, he survived multiple bites, including one in 2015 that left him in a coma for days. Malaysia receives a high volume of calls daily for the removal of snakes found in residential and rural areas. Due to the frequency of these incidents, the local fire department is often called upon to safely relocate these animals. With his vast experience and exceptional skills, Abu quickly stood out and became a leading figure in this field, eventually rising to the rank of head of the reptile department in the military. His leadership was not only inspiring, but also highly practical. He trained department members, guided them in safe capture and handling techniques, and taught methods for releasing snakes safely back into the wild. However, Abu did not only handle reptiles in rescue situations, he also kept some snakes as pets. Occasionally, he would put on small performances for his neighbors in his backyard. His displays rivaled those of traditional snake charmers. It was this talent, combined with the enthusiasm of his friends and neighbors, that led some of them to enter him into the popular talent show Asia's Got Talent. On stage, Abu quickly became a sensation. However, success also brought challenges. He became the target of fake news and unfounded rumors. Much of the international media mistakenly confused him with a Thai man involved in an unusual story. This man had reportedly married a snake, believing it to be the reincarnation of his deceased girlfriend. As a result, Abu faced a wave of criticism and judgment, with many beginning to see him as a fanatic. This kind of exposure deeply affected him, damaging his reputation and weighing heavily on his spirit. Disappointed, Abu decided to step away from the spotlight and return to his work as a firefighter, where he continued contributing to his community's safety, far from the media and public scrutiny. On March 16, 2018, Abu and his team were called to a plantation where multiple sightings of the notorious king cobra, a highly venomous snake, had been reported. By the time the firefighters arrived, the plantation workers were nearly hysterical. No one dared set foot on the farmland, fearing a bite from a snake hidden among the tall grass. During the search, the team quickly captured 3 snakes. However, at one critical moment, a cobra bit Abu on the hand. Abu instantly knew that this was not a dry bite, something some snakes can do, but a venomous one. The pain was immediate. He had been bitten several times before, and most of those bites were dry, without venom. He could tell the difference between a fatal bite and a harmless one. His colleagues quickly placed him in the car and rushed to get help. About 20 minutes later, they arrived at the nearest hospital. Abu was already dying. It was evident from his pale, drained appearance. When he got out of the vehicle, he looked like a victim of war. Abu remained hospitalized, barely conscious, with the venom causing delirium. On the second day of his stay, he still recognized his friends and his wife, but by the third day, he fell into a coma. It wasn't long before his organs began to fail. There was no amount of medication that could bring him back. On the fourth day, Abu passed away. His friends and family were devastated. He was known for being a friendly and kind person. His colleagues in the army continued his legacy of relocating snakes without the need to kill them. In his own way, Abu made a positive difference in his community. In India, Vava Suresh, a renowned snake hunter, stood out for his skill with these animals. However, unlike others, he didn't kill them or perform with them on the streets. Like Abu Hassan, Suresh had a natural gift and exuded great confidence when handling snakes. At the age of 12, he captured a small cobra and kept it hidden at home to study its behavior. With over 40 years of experience, it was common for him to receive multiple calls each day to relocate snakes from urban or agricultural areas back into the wild. Suresh was a conservationist deeply committed to wildlife, particularly reptiles, earning him great respect. He even hosted an Indian television program on snake capture and rescue, Snake Master. In this program, he educated the public about the importance of protecting reptiles. In 2013, Suresh was even praised by the British heir to the throne, Prince Charles, during a visit to Kerala. Charles described him as a living marvel for his bravery in capturing so many species. Vava Suresh was truly a well-known and admired figure. On January 31st, 2022, Vava Suresh was called to capture a king cobra in the Kottayam district of Kerala. The king cobra is a venomous snake native to India and considered one of the deadliest species today. While its venom isn't the most potent in the world, the amount injected in a single bite can be enough to kill up to 20 people. During the encounter, Suresh was handling the snake as he usually did, with several people watching the scene in suspense and anxiety. As he tried to place the reptile into a bag, the snake approached his leg and unexpectedly bit him just above the knee. A local resident captured the moment on video, recording Suresh holding the snake by its tail and attempting to place it into the bag. In the footage, the cobra lunges at him, biting him above the knee, which causes screams of fear from the onlookers. After the bite, he released the snake, which began to slither away, further frightening the crowd. Despite this, Suresh managed to get the cobra into the bag before the locals rushed him to the hospital. He fell unconscious shortly after capturing the snake. On the way to the hospital, Suresh suffered a cardiac arrest. At the Kottayam District Hospital, he was admitted to the intensive care unit, where he remained for a week. The local news agency reported that, in cases of snake bites, patients usually receive 25 vials of antivenom. However, due to the severity of Suresh's case and the lack of initial progress in his recovery, the medical board decided to administer 65 vials. By February 4th, Suresh began breathing on his own. He was discharged on February 7th without any significant health issues. The bite could have been fatal, and with hundreds of previous bites from venomous snakes, his treatment became even more complex. Fortunately, thanks to the doctor's efficient work, he recovered. Suresh, who had rescued over 50,000 snakes and other animals, revealed in an interview with Hindustan Times that he had suffered more than 250 bites during his career. In another incident, in 2020, the local celebrity fought for his life in the hospital for days after being bitten by a viper. Doctors had already warned Suresh that the anti-venom might have little effect on his body due to the large number of bites he had endured over the years. One of those bites resulted in the loss of a finger, and another left him with no movement in his right wrist. In this case, Vava Suresh did not meet a tragic end, but if he continues handling snakes, which he likely will, he could be struck again. Although Suresh isn't exactly a snake charmer, he handled them perfectly and did so in front of many people. He didn't typically use any equipment and, most of the time, performed the capture on his own. He also showcased his skills on TV programs, captivating viewers. However, Vava's main intent was to draw attention to these often misunderstood animals and demonstrate that they weren't evil. His work has always been, and continues to be, focused on raising awareness about their behaviors and preserving species in the wild. In January 2020, in Indonesia, Nurjani, a snake charmer from the district of Toho in the Mempawah Regency of West Kalimantan, was a respected type of shaman in a small rural community. He often showcased his skills to the villagers. In Pakutan, also in West Kalimantan, Nurjani, or Nektadong, as he was known, was famous for his risky behavior when handling wild animals. He amazed the locals with his snake charming techniques, especially when he demonstrated his courage and skill in handling dangerous reptiles. The villagers knew him well and were aware of his peculiar habits. In addition to his passion for snakes, Nurjani kept a collection of various animals in his cabin, including snakes of different species. However, the villagers, accustomed to his eccentric customs, were mostly indifferent to this practice. To them, he was not just a snake charmer, but also a healer, skilled in treating people using traditional methods. His reputation as a local shaman made him a figure of authority. Just over a week earlier, Nurjani had captured an enormous king cobra, measuring an impressive 5 meters in length. Fascinated by the snake, he decided to keep it locked in his cabin. On January 25, 2020, Nurjani brought the massive creature outside to showcase his skills. A community member managed to capture the incident on a cell phone camera. In the footage, Nurjani is seen handling and provoking the snake, which, however, appears visibly disturbed by the situation. Nurjani repeatedly spun the snake around and laughed, while the serpent showed signs of irritation, moving restlessly. It didn't take long before the snake struck, sinking its fangs into his arm. However, Nurjani seemed unfazed, indifferent to the pain. He continued holding and manipulating the animal, appearing confident in his abilities. Within seconds, the snake launched another attack, this time biting Nurjani on the face. Yet, he remained smiling and continued his bizarre performance, as if completely oblivious to the danger. The short video was posted on social media and quickly went viral, shocking many who watched it. After the performance, Nurjani returned the animal to his cabin and went about his day. But that only lasted until the evening. Hours after the bites, Nurjani began to feel unwell, and realizing the severity of his symptoms, he was taken to the hospital by some villagers, where his condition caused great concern. During the brief period when Nurjani appeared to be fine after the bites, he was actually already suffering from the effects of the snake's venom in his body. By the time he reached the hospital, it was unfortunately too late for any medical intervention. The venom had spread throughout his body, and he was declared dead that very night. The news deeply shook those who knew Nurjani. Consumed by anger and grief, they decided to avenge his death. In a symbolic act of justice, they captured the snake that had attacked him and, in a ritualistic action, decapitated the animal, believing that this would avenge Nurjani's spirit and bring peace to the community. The police chief, Didi Hasanuddin, confirmed that the incident occurred in the village of Pak Yutan and explained that Nurjani, locally known as Nektadong, was taken to a clinic in the Minjalam district, where he received treatment. However, due to the rapid spread of the venom, it was impossible to save him, and he passed away before the medical team could intervene effectively. The following day, Nurjani was buried amid great sorrow from his community. According to the police chief, the villagers knew that Nurjani had a habit of keeping dangerous animals in his cabin, but they always believed he was experienced enough to handle them. However, the tragic incident ultimately highlighted how risky his practice was, serving as a warning to the entire village about the dangers involved in interactions with wild animals.